Right, well, we are back on the bank and you join me on a lovely English little estate lake. It's a cracking place. I love this water. Got some lovely English countryside around you, some massive trees, really picturesque bit of water, and there's a nice stock in here as well. Some good fish in here. They go up to £30. Good head of 20-pounders and a lot of doubles to back them up, so fingers crossed we'll be getting amongst one or two of them today. But if I'm honest, we've had some really cold weather last week, freezing temperatures, and then the last couple of days it's got a little bit milder. We've had a real odd wet front come in, and that's put a load of water into the lake. This lake is literally like chocolate at the moment. Everywhere it's pretty much flooded. There's been like flash floods here, there and everywhere. So a lot of cold water might not help the fishing, to be honest. The lake is really, really high, almost to the point where it could be breaking the banks. A couple of swims are unfishable in a way, but it is a reservoir, so the water does come in at one end and go out at the other end. So the water's sort of always pushing through. But I do think it's going to be a bit of an ass today to get a bite. But like I said, there's a good few fish in here. Hopefully one of them will be up for a feed. But I've not done any filming this morning. It's raining, it's miserable, it's really dark this morning. So I just got the rods out, got everything set up. I've only got a morning, so I wanted to make the most of the actual fishing situation. So I've sort of got everything out there. We are fishing, so hopefully at some point we will have a bite, but I've only got the morning. I'm fishing till about midday. Got to pick the lad up from preschool later on, so yeah, let's hope it happens, and hopefully we'll be showing you a fish very soon. Right, I thought I'd show you the rig I'm using then today. So I'm using a very simple KD, which is something you don't see a lot of anymore. About 6 or 7 inches of braid, just standard braid. And on there I've got a size 4 quarter wide gape hook. And then that has just got a 18mm bug bottom bait mounted on that. Now, obviously if I was to throw that out into the pond like that, likelihood is it will tangle up. So what I'm doing is a bit of an old school method, but I'm using a PVA stick. So just have a loop in the end of the braid and just pull that through, and then the rig, because there's no extra bits and bobs on it, the hook then can just pull straight into it like so, and it just sits in the bottom nice and neat like that. And then, because I haven't got a long enough baiting needle, I then need to go through again with the needle and then basically just pull the rest of the hook length through. So ideally you need a long baiting needle, but I couldn't find one. And just pull the rest of it through like that, and there you go. There's my little PVA stick with my 18mm hanging on the bottom of it, and then that just goes onto the leg clip via the loop in the end, and I just use a little anti-tangle sleeve on there as well. So yeah, just fishing out on the leg clip, and that's what I'm using on both rods. So let's get that back out in the pond, and hopefully we'll get a bite on it. first coffee of the morning then, and I've been watching the water for the first sort of hour or so, just literally like a hawk, trying to keep my eyes on the lake, and I've seen absolutely nothing show. The only fish I've seen are the silvers trying to get out of the way of the cormorant that's currently working the lake. So I've decided to plot myself in the middle of the lake. Basically, when I got here, the light levels were really low. I hadn't seen anything show. Obviously the water's chocolate, is quite high, pretty flooded in areas. Some of the swims, I'd say, were probably unfishable. Obviously you've got a big influx of cold water coming in, so I thought, you know what, I'll get in the middle of the lake, I can see as much of the lake as I can then, I can pretty much see the whole lake, and as always, location is key. And because I didn't see anything when I initially got here, I thought, well, at least in the middle of the lake, I can see all the water, I can see if anything shows, and if I do see one show, I can obviously move to it accordingly, or possibly even be able to cast to it from where I am. Down to the left, I've got the narrow channel that goes up towards the inlet where the stream comes in. Up there it's really foamed up at the moment, loads of water coming in, does not look very inviting at all. I bet there's a lot of cold water coming through there, so I've decided to come more this way into the main sort of bowl section of the lake, which is the deeper end as it goes towards the dam. Now there is a guy actually fishing on the dam, so I'm not alone today, but he's not had anything yet either. And it's just a case of watching the water and hoping summer gives itself away. I've not gone in heavy at all with bait. I've literally put a handful of bait around one, and I've actually got one of the rods as a single across to the far side where there's a lovely snaggy sort of overhanging margin, which does seem to hold fish through the year. And that is pretty much it really. So it's just a case of sitting back, enjoying my coffee, enjoying being out in the fresh air, and hopefully at some point when those rods rattles off and we'll have something to show you for the cameras. Well, it's turned out to be a bit of a tricky day. I've not seen a single fish show. It is looking pretty dire. Having said that, the guy that is down on the dam, sort of down there I think he is, he's actually just had one. So fair play to him. We actually turned up at the same time this morning, obviously when the lake opened up. He went along the dam, I come up along this bank along here. So fair play to him. He's obviously got in an area and had a fish, so can't knock that. Now I am not one to get on, to jump on someone else's fishing, and although it might be an indication that there's fish along there, I'm not the one to start sending rigs that way or even move down and sort of fish on top of where he is. So fair play to him, I'll leave him to it, and although it's an indication that the fish could be down that way, I'm not going to move swims now. I've only got about an hour left and I don't want to sort of mess up his fishing. That's something I see so much in the modern sort of fishing world, that people are just so intent on catching a fish that they end up sort of messing up other people's days and ruining other people's fishing. And to be fair, I've been fortunate over the years that I've started in a time when the banks were very quiet. I had access to some amazing fisheries from a young age because of my dad, and I used to fish on waters which had lovely fishing, and sometimes it'd just be me and my dad on 30 acres of water. So I've got some nice quiet syndicates as well, and at the end of the day I'm not going to mess up someone else's fishing. It might be his main lake, to be fair. He might fish it regularly and know the water well, and at the end of the day I don't want to mess his fishing up. So yeah, that's just a little bit of food for thought for people that kind of jump on the bandwagon and sort of jump in next to people. Just think, you know, it might be their only bite of the winter, and if you go and get next to them and mess their own fishing up, it's just not cool, is it? So yeah, I'm going to leave him to it and stay up here out of the way. Hopefully I'll have a chance of one. I've got about an hour to go, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the kettle again, have one last drink, then get that all packed down, and then hopefully there's a chance of a bite before I go. But the conditions are rubbish, let's face it, conditions are rubbish. The lake's not in very good condition at the moment, and if I blank, I'm not surprised, if I'm fair, but let's hope we can nick one. Come on, let's have one. Yeah, we're gonna have one, let's do it. Right then, that is game over for me. Unfortunately, it is a blank, but I've got to get on the road and go and pick the lad up from preschool. So unfortunately, as always, time has got the better of me, and I've run out of it. So it is what it is. But it's nice to get out on the bank, nice to get a bit of fresh air, and shame I didn't catch one, but it is very tricky conditions, to be honest. The lake's obviously not fishing that well, what with all that cold water going into it. So we can try. It didn't pay off, but it is what it is. Anyway, I better get moving. So thanks for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, then please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. And until next time, get on a bank, be lucky, and remember to enjoy your fishing. And I'll see you next week about 6 o'clock, half 6-ish, for another upload. See you then.